All right. So I'm recording now. I'll edit it or whatever. But
Oh, you didn't record it. Oh, okay.
no, yeah. Oops, my
I
bad.
thought you were recording the other one. Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
my worst fear is like having like a 20-minute conversation, like missing everything that you just talked about.
yeah, right. So, okay. So I guess I'll start off with my standard thing. So hey everybody, welcome to the Dell Show. It's our first episode in about a year, literally. So there's that. So everybody who's still following that Twitter account or who continues to send me the occasional tweet or message and ask when I'm going to do another one. Here it is. So really excited to have uh, Bottle Rocket. Do you go by Bottle Rocket or Bottle
Yeah,
Rocket 13 or
Bottle Rocket's fine.
Bottle Rocket on with me today? He is probably, I've mentioned him on Twitter a couple times here and there, probably the funniest dude I've run into on the internet up to this point in terms of all his vines and everything. We'll get into that, and he can tell you a little bit about what he's got going on there. But if anybody who's paid attention for long enough, I did a whole series of vines back in 2013 about Jairus Bird. I think I called them the Jairus Bird Chronicles, and Bottle Rocket was actually one of the inspirations I had. So I didn't steal any direct jokes, but I learned a lot just in terms of your comedic timing and everything. I thought it was pretty funny. So I probably inherently stole something there. So don't look back
I
at
gotta go.
that.
I'm gonna go back and look and see what you ripped off from me. This we might cut this podcast in half.
There you go. There you go. But so the reason that I invited him on is because he is a Massachusetts resident, as you can see if you're watching the video portion. He's wearing his knockoff Tom
Yeah,
Brady jersey.
Walmart Brady.
Yeah. So one of the few Pats fans that I can stand. So I figured we'll talk about the game tomorrow. If you're listening to this, you probably already know that the Bills won, so we'll celebrate later. but anyways, for this moment in time, we'll just phrase it as we'll find out tomorrow at the time of this recording and all that jazz. But so without any further ado, I've done enough doing. So Bottle Rocket, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you taking the time tonight.
Thanks for having me. This is good. I love podcasts. I think we were talking about this. Podcast is the way of the future, so it's exciting to be a part of this. And I think I reached out to you about this too. I didn't realize your podcast was on quite a hiatus.
Yeah, it's more of like a. I guess
it's an annual podcast.
Yeah, so welcome to
everyone you have is really good, and you just wait a year to put out another one.
Yeah, so be honored. This is the 2016 edition. So
yeah, this is good.
Yeah, I used to. Yeah, no, I used to do it. On the way home from work, I would just fire up a phone call. I had an app that would save a phone call, and I talked to different people on the way home from work driving. And and the podcast was then like, okay, I'm home. I got to go now. All right, goodbye.
That's how all podcasts start. They all start in a car or in like a rest area or like random places. I mean, maybe for me, I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not.
but yeah, in the past year or so, my life's gotten a lot busier with a career change and everything. So it's harder to find time to do it. But here we are. So, and thanks for reaching out too. It was pretty cool. You said I want to come on. I'm like, well, yeah, absolutely.
I knew right away it would be good football chatter because that's what all the podcasts I listen to are all football chatter. So I'm like, well, you're a Bills fan, number one Bills fan. I'm a Pats fan, so we might as well get together and talk about the game.
Yeah. So let's do that. So tell me how the heck your team is 3-0, and how. Well, you don't have to tell me how my team is 1-2. I'm very familiar with that. Anybody who's listening is familiar with how that happened. But how is your team 3-0? You don't have Tom Brady. You do have Bill Belichick.
I think they have a good team. If you look around, the defense, they're awesome. I didn't realize how good they were until obviously they start playing the 3 games, and you look how good the defense actually is, even without Revis. It's like you lose Revis, and you're like, wow, there's going to be quite a hole there. But they end up, they get some mediocre guys, but those guys are actually pretty good, and they've got a good D line, and they lost the middle linebacker Mayo, but he retired, and then Hightower just steps in, and then they got Collins, and these guys just keep stepping in and doing well. It's the same system too, it's the same defense, so it's nothing like no major changes or anything. So I think overall you take away the huge piece, but they still have a decent enough team to actually play the pieces everywhere else. Whereas sometimes that happens and you get like a fall, like the pieces start falling and then everything just falls apart. So I don't know. That's what I think. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're just lucky. I mean, you
Who-
tell me. What do you see when you see them play? I mean, they just
It's pretty.
probably a little bit of luck.
Yeah, and you need that though. You need everything in life. You need a little bit of We always say it at work for our business. It always takes. Uh, it takes time, luck, and money. Two of those things, right? So I don't know how that translates into football exactly,
Yeah,
but there's definitely talent, and there's a lot of good coaching ability, and there's also luck. So how are those
yeah. Those
pan out?
guys. Yeah, all those coaches are pretty solid. Even though there are a lot of no name guys on there. I guess their staff is like a lot of guys that have nothing to do with football on that staff, but they're just all hard workers, crazy hard workers. Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're there all the time and they're just working their tails off.
It's pretty
So,
amazing, and we were talking about it this week on Twitter. How you and I, how it's amazing how they just continue to like lose coordinators like time after time. We were talking about. I think I mentioned Romeo Crennel and Charlie Weiss, and then Josh McDaniels, the prodigal son, of New England.
yeah,
And these guys, they leave and they don't really do anything, but they get hired because of where they're coming from.
yeah. Well, there's a lot of disasters too, which we even talked about. And I don't know. I always thought that the coach that goes the first place they go is going to be a disaster. And I mean, that's history shows that. So McDaniels goes to Denver. They don't do really well. And then I don't know where he'll go next, if he's going to stay here or if he's going to go to you guys or what. But it's like, did he get his disaster out of the way and now he's ready to be a coach? I don't know. Which coach would you want from us? Which coach are you guys going to poach from us? Patricia or McDaniels? Which one?
Well,
'Cause
hopefully we're
it's
not.
coming.
We talked about that too. Like, hopefully that's not the case. I want this to work out. I've never, I think I was venting to you the other day. Just how I can't stand like hiring from within your division, and for the, and God bless the Pagulas. They bought the team. They saved the team. And the first thing they did was they broke like the cardinal rule, at least that I have. Like they went and I hired the coach from the other team. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like Terry Pagula. Have you not been paying attention to my Twitter feed the past 6 years
Yeah.
about Rex
Guys got
Ryan?
to follow you. I don't know, man.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, who I would want from your team?
I don't think
Hopefully,
you want either one, to be honest with you.
I,
But they both scare me on their own. They both scare me.
some guys are just meant to be coordinators, and some guys are meant to be head
Yeah.
coaches. And the Bills' best coach they ever had, Marv Levy, he was a leader. He wasn't a coordinator per se. You know what I mean? In terms of how we typically, look at it nowadays. Like he just came in, and he had head coaching experience in the USFL and everything. But like
Is that where you came from, USFL?
he came from Kansas City. Well, he was in the USFL. He coached the Chicago Blitz, and then he was with Kansas City, and then he came to Buffalo.
Oh, okay. And how long was he coach there?
In Kansas City, I don't think it was very long.
No, with you guys forever, right?
Oh, forever, yeah, from like 1985 through 97.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, and then
Well, that's a long time.
the Bills had Wade Phillips and 75 other gentlemen in the professional.
Yeah, they had a revolving door for a while there. I remember.
Well, still, right? I mean, I don't think we've had anybody in terms of longer than 3 years, except for Dick Duran, and he got fired in that fourth year, I think. So
Hmm.
it's been fun. It's been a fun.
Yeah,
16,
it must be
17
fun to
years.
get used to a coach and a system a lot. Every few years, it's like this is the year. This is the guy. This I can feel it. And it's like, oh, maybe this guy isn't the guy. Maybe we need to get somebody else, and then it starts over again. I can't imagine. I'm sure I'll know what it's like soon enough. But
Yeah, we'll see. Anything you can do on your end to accelerate that discovery process?
you got to imagine they're going to go out. Him and Brady will go out together. I'm thinking.
Do
I
you
don't
think
know.
so? Like, I feel like
I'm
from
back
the
and forth.
from the outsider's perspective, especially now seeing how the team has gone 3-0 in his absence, don't you think that? Not that I think Bill Belichick kind of confuses me. Sometimes I think he's the kind of guy who feels he has to prove everything to everybody, and then the
Yeah.
next day I feel like he's the guy that doesn't feel he has to prove
Doesn't
anything
care.
to anybody.
Yeah.
So he's kind of a tough nut to crack in that respect. But either one though, like any
But
competitor.
would you be shocked if he walked away in 2 years and was just like, I'm done. I'm going to go retire with my young wife and take off to the fish somewhere. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, possibly.
'Cause you don't know anything about his contract. You don't know, how many. They don't release anything about how long he's signed for. So, it could be 2 years, and then all of a sudden he's gone after Brady or with Brady. I think Brady's got a year and a half left. I think he's got this year and then next year, and then he's going to cut it. You know.
Yeah, it's interesting because he has the rate that he or the ability he's shown this late in his career is just unfathomable
Yeah, it doesn't
to
happen.
no, but with any athlete though they hit a wall. So
Yeah,
is he going to hit that wall? It helps that he had a 4 game vacation this year where
yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean.
absolutely.
That's
He's coming back fresh. I mean, you
right.
saw his nudes are out in Italy. You saw how relaxed he is. He's so relaxed. He's laying out naked, you know, in Italy, which I don't think anybody needed to see. But
Yeah, thankfully that has not crossed my feed or my.
I'll send it to
Um,
you. I'll DM you. Hold on, right now. I'll send you the
yeah,
message.
appreciate
I'll
that.
send it
Thank you.
to hashtag Bills Mafia.
Yeah, fantastic. There's enough stuff that happens in that hashtag nowadays. That is, it's funny. Like Bills fans now are known for jumping through tables that are on fire,
You
and
guys are getting quite the reputation up there. Yeah.
it's funny too because a lifelong Bills fan that I am and everything. Like that's not really. I don't want to say that's not how it is because obviously there's a tons of video evidence that it is how it is. But it's like one or two lots that surround the stadium that all that stuff happens in, and but that's the one. Those are the ones that get all the attention. So people think it's in every lot. It's in every.
Do you ever watch The Wire? The Wire was about some like drug use, and they sent all the drug users into like this one neighborhood. They cleaned off the streets. They cleaned up the streets, but they sent all the druggies into one neighborhood, and the cops just turned their eye. And they're like, "Look, our streets are clean, but this one neighborhood not so nice." That's what it reminded me of. You got one parking lot that's jumping through tables, but everything else is pretty cool. Everything else is good.
Yeah, it's called the anything goes lot. That's what a lot of
Oh, it's got its own name.
well, that's what all the locals call it. The other lot owners, as I understand it, they call it the anything goes lot. So there maybe
Oh
there's
my
other ones that I'm
goodness! Have
aware.
you ever parked there?
I have not. I have not. That's the only one I've
Oh,
seen. Funny how 40-year-old suburban
come on!
dads.
You got to park there once. It's like bucket list.
Is that what it is? Is that what it is? I
You
feel
got to
like
jump through a table once.
yeah, maybe. I
No,
don't know.
you're all set. We
It
don't
was
have any parking lots like that at Gillette. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been, but there's a highway that kind of cuts through Gillette. If you go to the other side of Gillette, there's a back lot that's real dark and pretty much a lot of activity back there. Who knows what goes on back there? But if you park back there, you don't get out until 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning on a Monday night game. The other lots, you slide right out onto the highway because they're all kind of new, so you get right out. But that's the closest thing we have to anything goes lots.
Yeah, it's funny. I've heard that. I had the opportunity to do a shirt with Fred Smirlis a couple years
Oh yeah,
ago, and former Bill. He's from Boston now. He does like a lot of
yeah.
stuff for Patriots
He's on
Radio.
he's on EEI too, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
and he mentioned that how there's like it's like one road goes into the stadium basically.
yeah.
If I remember
Yeah,
how he described it.
it's Route One. Route One cuts right through, and if you follow it, it goes from Boston, it cuts through Foxborough, and then it just goes to another main highway, and that's it. And then it's neighborhoods, and the traffic there is unbearable.
Yeah, that's interesting because there's a lot of talk about the Bills possibly having a new stadium in the next 7 to 8 years once the lease is up for what's now New Era Field. And one of the complaints or one of the detracting arguments is that the infrastructure, because everybody's talking about moving downtown because the Pagulas, they own the Sabres as well,
Yeah,
and Pagula Sports and Entertainment headquarters is downtown, and there's supposedly this one spot right near the hockey arena that's been slated for a future football stadium. It's all rumors and everything, but you can see how it pieces together. But there's no infrastructure in place in terms of getting the traffic in and out and everything. So
yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see how that.
When when you guys watch when they show a night game or a Monday night game, you'll see Boston. They'll show Boston, but Boston's half hour away from
Mhm.
from the stadium. So they'll show like beautiful Foxborough Stadium, and then they'll show like the backdrop of Boston and the skyline, and then they'll cut to the game. We're not near that. That's not near it. So
Yeah,
I mean, there's no Foxborough to show. It's a neighborhood. The only thing they could show was the bars and stuff that Bob Kraft brought in. They have a nice little area there that you can eat and drink and hang out and stay for the night. He brought all that stuff in. That was never there. But they wouldn't show that on the telecast.
yeah. It's the same thing with the Bills, where the city of Buffalo is like a half hour away, and
Uh huh.
Orchard Park is, like you said, it's a neighborhood.
What's Orchard Parks? Orchard Park's a neighborhood.
Yeah, well, Orchard Park's the town or the village or
Yeah.
whatever it is. There's a town and village of Orchard Park, but I think it's the town of Orchard Park is where the stadium is. But that's
Yeah.
in the southern tier, which is about like depending on what area of the city you're coming from, 30 to 45 minutes away. So
Mm.
that's why you have all these private lots that surround it. Just grass fields where.
Do people make bank on that?
Oh
Do
yeah,
people that own it make bank? Yeah, they must.
for sure. Yeah,
That's
they
great.
one guy.
That's how it is.
Yeah, they have to incorporate and everything, and it's part of their the actual like business that they have. So
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, if the stadium wasn't there, you wouldn't go to Foxborough. There'd be no reason to go. But now that there's stores there, so in the off season people go there. They go Christmas shop, and so that's kind of nice that Kraft brought that in because people complained. People wanted their county back basically.
So what is it they call it? They call it Patriot Place or something like that?
It's Gillette. It's Gillette Stadium. Patriot Place is where you where you shop and you go out to eat and stuff. There's like right outside the stadium. There's probably 7 nice bars there, like all in a strip. It's a strip mall outside. There's chain restaurants. There's a bowling alley. It's all a CVS. There's all nice places to go, and you can go there in the off season and hang out. And you go to the pro shop and you can stay in a nice hotel right there. There's only one hotel, but it's big enough to stay. Then they got the Pats Hall of Fame there, and it's not a bad destination. But before it was that, it was whatever Schaefer Stadium, whatever the heck it was. There was nothing there. It was just this bowl. It kind of looked like your stadium now. I see it from the outside. It's like just this just a bowl with not much else going on. Which I can't. It's nice that you guys are gonna get a stadium. That's great.
Yeah.
You're like one of the last. I'm trying to think of that stadium. I'm trying to think of any other stadium that's just so plain. I really can't think of any, to be honest.
Well, in defense of the stadium formerly known as the Ralph, formerly known as Rich Stadium, it's not a bad setup.
It's not.
It's
the seats, are they comfortable?
Yeah, they have club seating and all that stuff, and they also have.
You don't believe me? I don't believe you. I believe that if you went to another stadium, you'd sit there and say, "Wow, we need to have this."
PSLs and stuff too. Yeah, so
I don't know.
I don't know. I've only been to your point. I've only been to 2 other stadiums. I've been to I think it's called Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati, and
semi-new, right?
Like 2000, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm thinking 8. Yeah.
And then
it's not bad.
Yeah, it's all right. And the other one was MetLife Stadium this past year. So that was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
The Jets.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever been in there.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think I've never been to other football stadium.
Yeah.
Besides the old Patriots Stadium and this one.
Yeah.
But it's like Fenway. We sit in a box at Fenway, and we love the history of it. And you sit there, and you're squeezed in there, and it's horrible. But you're like, I don't want to rip this down. This is part of our life. And then you go to another stadium, and you sit there, and it's like, wow, this is what we could have. It's great. It's like I went to the Washington Stadium and saw a Nationals game. It was amazing. It was so comfortable.
Yeah. I've only been to one professional baseball game in my life because the Buffalo doesn't have a team, and they have a AAA team, the Bisons. And we've actually through 26 Shirts, we've had the opportunity to do some designs with them. But I went to Wrigley Field, which is probably in the same vein as Fenway, as an older stadium that's been retrofitted and stuff. But so yeah, in terms of that, I can't really speak to baseball stadiums, but
I'll tell you, in my opinion, I would blow Fenway up in a second for a new stadium like Camden. You'd get rid. I'd pull the monster out of Fenway and put it in the new stadium, and just have the monster and then a new stadium.
Yeah, I'm
a monster though.
There's a lot of it's torn, even with the talk of the Bills possibly moving to downtown in the next decade or so. There's a lot of people who are just like, nope.
No?
It's probably 50-50 in terms of people who are interested in moving downtown and people who don't want any part of it.
Why? Because of the traffic?
Yeah, honestly, part of the tailgating too, like the whole experience. Like that's one thing that Bills fans are, and I'm speaking. This is pre-2015, where all of a sudden people started jumping through tables and everything. I
see you guys on Barstool, and I see you guys all over these crazy viral videos, like lighting things on fire, jumping through tables. Especially like after you get the win last week, everybody's like, the Bills, they got their vibe back. They're feeling it. Yeah. Let's cut to the tailgate or whatever. We'll cut to the post game or whatever, and guys are just going nuts. Like I can't imagine. Well, it's here, so there won't be a lot of craziness. But if you win another game, especially beat the Pats, oh my God, Buffalo will burn. It will be crazy.
I've often said that the day that the Bills win the Super Bowl, I'm taking my family. We're going in the basement. I'm boarding up the house,
Yeah,
and we're gonna
it's gonna
ride
be
it
like the
out.
Purge.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be like the Purge. So we're gonna like just ride it out for a week, and we'll poke our head out and make sure everything's okay.
Uh,
After that. But yeah, when Buffalo beat New England a few years ago, I think it was 5 years ago when they beat them here.
That's when he spanked us, right? That was
Uh,
after we cut Malloy. Was that the one?
oh no, that was 2003. I'm talking about 2011 when Brady threw 4 picks and the Bills came back and won. It's funny you don't even remember, and this is like a national holiday almost in Buffalo.
Yeah.
There's something to that, but I remember just there were so many viral videos in terms of reactions and because the Bills had to make a field goal to finish it off, and just all the reactions and everything. But all that to say, I remember the sheriffs came out and they actually took the goalpost down before
From the stadium?
They actually lowered the goalpost so that fans wouldn't like rush the field, and because they've done that before, they've rushed the field and torn down goalposts and everything.
Did they ever burn any like effigies of like Tom Brady or Bill Belichick? Is it that much?
Oh, I've been at a tailgate where they burned Brady jerseys and all that. Yeah.
Man, we've never done that. Well, because we've always won.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So who are the Bills' biggest rivalry, you think?
It's funny, when I was growing up, it was Miami. That was that was always like the Miami game. But that's really kind of, especially since like Kelly and Marino retired.
You guys used to have crazy Kelly Marino bet matches. I remember because I used to like I grew up in Florida. I went to elementary school in Florida, so I followed the Dolphins. And I all right, good night. Hey, will you grab me a Miller Lite out of the cupboard? Thanks. We can cut that. I grew up as like a Marino fan because I freaking love watching Marino, and his release was just awesome, and I just thought he was such a competitor, and I used to love watching them go up against Andre Reed and thank you, Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas and Bruce Smith. I mean, those guys were so good, and they were they're so tough to beat. But yeah, that must be, that was the rival in the 90s, huh? In the 80s.
Yeah, and then since then, I mean, I don't think the Bills really have a true rival. I mean, like, I get geared up for the New England game every year because I'm just like, okay, can we please beat them, please?
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any team out there that really considers the Bills like a rival back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just kind of disappointing.
What about the Jets? No? Like, does the Rex Ryan thing make like a Jets game like, yes? Or you don't – I mean, you haven't had Rex for that long, so it's not really – you don't really put that much stock into it, but I would think that would add a little bit.
Well, he definitely gets geared up for it. You can tell. Like, there's when they played on Thursday night last year, there was that famous tirade where he's running up and down the side of the field and he's throwing stuff and everything. He's so excited and happy.
Yeah.
But for me personally, as a Bills fan, I mean, I hate the Jets. I mean, there's only I can't stand the New York Jets. And the irony is that Jets fans drive me crazy, but I've actually developed some really good relationships and friendships with individual Jets fans.
Fans,
but Jets fans as the whole, I'm like, oh my gosh, stop. But
they're tough.
But
for the most part.
But to that point though, anyways, like what you're saying with Rex, it's like that's his rivalry. You know what I mean? Like
that's yours.
So it's kind of weird.
I'll tell you, I hated that team when Rex was on that team. He used to push the buttons. Like, he used to just get under our skin about a lot of crap that he would say, and just like bringing captains out that used to be on the Patriots. That is such a Rex move.
He does that now. Yeah,
bothered us so much, and like he hasn't really done that. He's kind of simmered down a little bit because he hasn't won, but he hasn't done that with the Bills. But I could see if he won a few games, he would get that swagger back, and he would start pushing buttons. I don't think it bothers the other teams, but I think it just bothers fans. But at the same time, I always protect him because without him, you have a boring league. Like if you have 32 Belichicks, nothing happens.
Right,
Nobody says anything, and it's boring. And so, like, you get a Rex, you get a personality, and you get, the guy for the Jets doesn't really have a personality, but you get some of these coaches who come out and say stuff and they do stuff, and he makes that phone call to Edelman, and I thought that was funny. That was cool. Like, that doesn't anything he really does now doesn't really bother me that much because
He's done it before.
yeah, but he's given a personality. Like, it's kind of funny to watch. But if he comes out and lays an egg after he does that, then it kind of sucks for you,
Yeah.
Because then it's like, why is this guy screwing around when he should be coaching the team and getting them ready for the week?
Yeah, I think part of it is his strategy. I think he really tries to take attention off of his players, and not in a selfish way, but I think that he's up there. He's trying to take all the arrows for his team, so that like the team's always about
Who's
him.
getting arrows on your team though? What's talk radio saying? Like, who's the guy that they're like, this guy's got to go, or what's the chatter like?
I don't know if anybody's saying this guy's. What's that?
They fired the offensive coordinator. Who's getting the heat now?
Yeah, that was so weird to me too that they fired the offensive coordinator after such a bad defensive showing. I mean, there were some really dumb plays and play calls that happened, but like, I don't know. I didn't feel like it was a fireable offense, but I don't know. The guy was only here for a year, so you don't really get like in love with any of these guys. But
yeah, I think it was just to take away from. I think it was trying to light a spark somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course, all the stuff comes out afterwards, which is always the way where, oh, well, they didn't like each other, and Greg Roman didn't want to be on the team this year, and he was hoping to get it on offer after last season to leave, and so, but you never know who's giving that information, what's going on, you know what I mean? But
yeah, what's your thought on Watkins being out now? What's the deal with Watkins? What's his injury? I just saw he's on the IR.
Yeah, he's got the same kind of fracture that Des Bryant had, where he tried to come back too soon. I guess there's a screw in his foot. Yeah, and it's
that guy's fragile, man. I don't know what his story is.
It's it's kind of disappointing. It's tough. I can never get like you look at on Twitter and you see how some fans get so upset and they're actually like sending mentions at this guy like, oh, you suck. It's like, yo, if I bust my foot's busted. What do you want me to do? You know what I mean? It's just sometimes the luck of the draw, but.
Yeah,
it seems like they kind of rushed him back based on what I've read this past week. It seems like they rushed him back for that Jets game where he did, for week 2, and he probably could have used a little bit more time off. So I don't know. Broken foot's a broken foot. But,
broken foot, yeah.
But it is disappointing when you think of what the Bills gave up to get him.
What did they give up? I don't even.
They traded up from I think the 8th spot to the 4th spot in the 2014 draft. And also gave up the 2015 first rounder. So they gave up 2 firsts for this guy.
Who did that? Was that a Ryan thing?
No, that was this is before Rex Ryan came in. It was Doug Whaley, the GM, who's the current GM, and then also at the time Doug Marrone was the coach, and
who just quit football, right? He just flat out quit football.
He's with the Jags now. He's the offense. He quit the team.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he quit the team. And became the offensive line coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars, which really makes you wonder, like, how bad was it that you?
Yeah, what was happening there? Yeah. Like, a lot of people thought that he was quitting because he was going to get offered another job, and then nothing happened, and he just sat there, and then all of a sudden he gets hired to be. So people were wondering, okay, maybe this guy's really smart. He's going to get offered another job that's better than the Bills, or. The guy didn't get along with somebody there. Who knows? But that was an odd thing.
Yeah. Again, there was all these stories that came out afterwards in terms of, like, supposedly when they traded up and drafted Watkins, like Doug Marrone got up and left the room, like the draft room after they did that. Like, so there was stuff going on there,
yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like he had a $4 million severance, so he took $4 million and left the Bills. It was some option he had in his contract when the ownership changed once the Pegula took over. But like. I don't know. To me, like it's like the Pegulas bought the team in September. It wasn't even finalized. I think until after the first week, the first game. It was finalized. The Pegulas bought the team, and so you're not even with these owners for like 3 months, and you're like, I'm gonna bounce. Like I don't know.
Shady stuff, man.
Yeah,
these guys, you don't know what's in their head. Nobody knows what's going on.
No. So, all right. So I want to talk to you about some other things today too.
Yeah.
That's the best thing about like doing this podcast. It's just conversations, and sometimes it goes a half hour, sometimes it goes longer. Yeah. So if you got to cut out at any point, I know you're going to the game tomorrow, so let me know. We'll stop.
Yeah, man. That's fine.
But so predictions for tomorrow. Who's going to be the quarterback? Is it going to be Brissett? Is it going to be
It's
Edelman?
gonna it's gonna be it's not gonna be Julian Edelman. It's I think they announced it this morning. Garoppolo. It's
Oh
gonna
yeah,
be Jimmy G. Yeah.
I missed
So
that.
Jimmy G will come back, and I don't know what to expect from him because a lot of people are like they're so high on this guy, but he really doesn't have a huge body of work, and he's had a good game and a half, I think, and you never know. I mean, he could come off an injury and still favor the shoulder, and still maybe throw a pick, and all of a sudden, I think he's a guy that you never know if he throws a pick, you never know what's going to go on with his head because he hasn't had to kind of deal with anything yet. So when he has to deal with something, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of young quarterbacks out there who are really doing well. And so I don't know if I want to lump him in with those guys, like because they have a bigger body of work, right?
Like,
I mean, they got the dude from Eagles.
Yeah, Carson Wentz.
Wentz is the real deal. And of course, he's a first round pick too.
He's supposed to be the real deal, though, right? He was like the
he's supposed to be
first or second pick.
And then you got the Denver quarterback. He's good too. So like I'm not willing to throw Jimmy G into that mix yet until I see the guy play another game and beat another decent team. I think the Cardinals might be a little flawed. Not to take anything away from the win last week for you guys, but something's off with that team. I don't know if Arians got his act together or not, but we'll see. Going forward, we'll see. So I'm not ready to be like, trade Brady, we got the future. I want to see the guy play 3 more games. And I'll be like, all right, this guy might be okay. We've never had a quarterback get hurt in 16 years or something besides Bledsoe. Last time our quarterback was hurt, Brady was out for a year, but we don't get dinged up. You know what I mean? You don't get these nagging injuries like gets hit, leaves for 2 games, comes back. That never happens.
Yeah, so that was ironic that Brady's out for 4 games and Garoppolo was it like a sprained AC joint or whatever that is, and then
something up here,
and then the next game, the next kid who's in there tears up his thumb or something like that. So
yeah.
I'm like, man, they're saving up all these injuries. So
I know it was odd. I was like, wow, this is what it's really like.
Yeah, welcome to the NFL.
Their team, like they have to battle through these injuries, and they have to have a backup that's ready to come in. This is what happens to everybody. So that was odd, but I don't know. I think I think this could be Rex's last game in Gillette. To be honest with you, I don't see it turning around. I just I see the game last week, but if we win this one, that sets them back a little bit more, sets you guys back a little bit more, and people start chirping. And
it's going to be interesting because they signed him to a 5-year deal when they brought him in, but the Pagulas also are literally made of money. Like if you cut them, I think coins come out. But so the money's not an object for them, but still, they'll be paying him for another 3 years no matter what if they do let him go. So I guess we'll see. But I want to think that it's going to turn around and that something's going to click with this team. So I'm not ready to hop on the coaching carousel again. But
yeah, no, I don't blame you. I wouldn't be either. You want to see at least 9-7, 10-6. Yeah. What was it? What was your record last year?
8-8.
All right, so you don't want 8-8 again because that would be like, all right, the guy's not growing, so we can fire him. You want at least one game better with a little bit more excitement toward the end.
Ideally, right? We have such a tough back end of the schedule too. It's gonna be tough. So we'll see what happens, but
yeah. Well, my prediction is Pats win. They're not gonna lose. I don't think they're gonna lose at home. With the crowd. But another thing is, I was thinking, this has got letdown written all over it because you get Tommy back early Monday morning. He'll be in the office, and it's like we're getting ready. We're thinking about getting Tom back, and so you kind of take the foot off the pedal a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'll take the W, however it comes for whatever reason.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah, I know. We'll see what happens. Yeah. But if you can go 4-0 without Tom Brady, in the face of the Deflategate massacre, it would be awesome.
Yeah, it's not what anybody anticipated. I don't think
nobody.
Even Pats fans, I don't think anybody.
Nobody did. No, we word on the street was 2-2. You can get out of this 2-2. Tommy comes back and we get this false bravado, he's not going to lose a game. He's going to be crazy. That's the part that makes me crazy is people think he's this superhuman. Belichick and him can just get together and just mow through everybody, but that's not the case because they could have did that last year or the year before or whatever, and like it just doesn't happen that way. You know what I mean? Like there's always a reason why. We're gonna. It's there was they called it the middle finger tour. It's the middle finger tour, man. We're gonna show it to Goodell, and then you lose the game, and they're like, we're gonna show him next week. It's like they don't have that power. They're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every game is different. You can't just come out and mow over guys. Like it's silly.
But to that point though, I mean, holy cow, the number of games that they've won over the past 15 years is just.
Yeah, it's insane.
Will it ever be matched again? I don't know. Like, I mean, it's just the law of averages.
Every time they win, I tell myself, I tell my kids, I tell whoever will listen, you may never see this again. You may legit never see a Super Bowl with your team again. This may never happen. So you have to watch the pregame. You have to videotape the Super Bowl. You have to take everything because you never know if it's going to happen again. And then it happens again. And you're like, okay, seriously, this might never happen again. So let's watch it again. Let's record everything. Let's soak it in because you never know. You don't know. And we've been so lucky to get to those points in time, besides the Giants games, which, Giants were a good opponent.
Yeah.
The Giants were nasty.
Full disclosure, the Giants beat the Bills in their first Super Bowl. And so there was always like a little bit of like, for me.
Yeah. But where were you when you saw that? I was going to ask you this. Where were you when Norwood missed that field goal?
Okay.
At the moment?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I was 15 years old. My parents had all like my aunt and uncle and a bunch of friends over to watch the game and everything. And I remember clear as day, like being there, and then the kick happens, and then like
you guys were all watching the game.
Yeah, we're all watching the game. My parents actually. This is 1990. I guess this is January '91. My parents actually went and they bought a new TV. It was like a 40-inch, like one of those big, boxy, giant projection TVs. It was like a 40-inch TV, which back then was like ridiculous.
Yeah, man, you guys are like rich.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, I think they really like knowing my parents. They probably shouldn't have bought that, but they bought it because the Bills were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and it was something.
Did they
else.
return it the next day?
Yeah, it's
smash it.
It's cursed. Maybe it was the television's fault all those years, but. So yeah, I remember it happening, and the kick goes wide, and like I remember it just being just quiet in the room, and so that was. I remember I called my I called my friend. We were talking on the phone, and like a lot of it wasn't even talking. We're just like it's like this. You know what I mean? Just like just like huffing. It's just, and then I remember seeing like they brought Jim Kelly out for the the losers locker room, and he's talking and everything. It's just it was brutal. And then the next year. They go back to the Super Bowl, and the game was. I mean, I think the final score was 37-24, but it wasn't even that close. Like they got beat up.
So you had. Let me get this straight now. You had 4 straight losses.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not breaking stones here. I just wasn't sure if they were straight. I knew you had 4.
Are you messing with? Yes. The Bills.
No. We were young. I don't like think about it. If your team's not in it and you're that age, you don't really remember. But
yeah, we hold to it too. It's crazy here. Like the Bills went to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost all 4, and I can't
imagine.
Those were my formative years too. Like that was like when I was like 15, 16, 17.
Yeah. Wow.
18.
So you were shaped by losing. You're the person that you are today was shaped by 4 losses. 4 of the hardest losses you'll ever have.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
I can't believe you made it. Look at you. You're successful. You're a success story.
Yeah, no, me and every other Bills fan though. It's part of this. There was actually a 30 for 30.
That's why you guys jumped through tables.
You know
when you win, you jump through tables.
You know what? To that point, though, like I do believe that a lot of the craziness that you see in the tailgating videos on Deadspin and everything isn't because of like the 4 Super Bowl losses, because that was like a generation ago. But like I think it is like
it's their kids.
Well, yeah, I think it's the 16 years of losing, the 17 years with no playoffs almost. I really think that's what people have just associated. They've grown up with. All right, well, Sundays you drink. And
you drink
you get
and
wasted.
You lose and you just get drunk.
Yeah, I really do think that's part of it, because I think if there was a winning team there, that it would bring in different people. Do you know what I mean? To go to the game. So, But anyways, yeah. So yeah, Bills' culture is shaped by going to 4 straight Super Bowls and losing. But to your point that you were saying earlier, enjoy this now because it may never happen again. Like
Yeah,
those 4 years, like yeah, they all ended sadly, but those were the most amazing
those are awesome.
years
Yeah,
I'll ever experience. Like that'll never, don't want to say never, but like I can't see that ever happening as another team going to 4 straight Super Bowls. This is like right at the cusp of free agency and everything. So back then you could draft Bruce Smith, Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, Thurman Thomas, and you basically got to keep them until you were done with them.
yeah,
Until you decided, the team decided it was time to let them go. There was no free agency.
yeah,
Like, well, my contract's up. They're like, okay, well, big whoop, your contract's up. You got to sign with us anyways.
yeah.
So
Yeah, you're not going to see 4 straight teams in the Super Bowl. It's like the same team. It's those days are over. Now you get the parity and everything that they want. But that's crazy. I mean, that's you think about it. If you win, I know I don't want to bring this up, but if you win 2 of those games or you win 3 of those games, now you're talking one of the best teams ever.
Mm-hmm.
Just the difference between. Obviously, I sound like a stupid sports announcer. The difference between winning and losing is you score more points, but that's it. And then you get 3, a team that you talk about forever, and instead you just, outside of Buffalo, you don't really talk about that team.
No,
People don't realize how good those teams were.
Oh my gosh, it was the best. I mean, every week we just expected to win. Like
Yeah,
they would lose a game. Like what? They lost to the Colts. They lost to the Colts.
Colts were a joke.
Yeah. Seriously,
Those are the days.
Those were the days. But they're kind of a joke this year a little bit. I mean, they're working on
Yeah,
it.
they've been our. I mean, because of Manning, and I was thinking about this today. Like, who's our biggest rival? And because of Manning, it was the Colts. I hated that team, and I don't hate Manning. I hate their owner. I hate Jim Irsay. I hate like everything about that, the fans, and I don't like that team. But Peyton Manning, he's never ever bothered me. He's never ever. I've never looked at him and like I want to punch his stupid face. Like the dude just is a good quarterback, and he just plays the game and doesn't say much and just does it.
Yeah.
Same with Eli Manning. A lot of people like Eli Manning beat the Pats twice, and it's like I can't look at Eli Manning and say I hate this guy so much. There's something about him. Like that dude could play in those playoffs. He was so good. It's like dang, he made another. Made another play, and he was a gunslinger.
Everybody talks about the helmet catch in Super Bowl 42,
God.
but the catch was amazing. But oh my gosh, the part right before the catch was amazing. How Manning is able to roll out and somehow not get sacked, set his feet and throw that pass. Like it was one of the best plays you'll ever see. And they interview him after the game, and he's right back to coming off like a goober. Like threw a good pass. So
he's a goober.
Did you ever see when he hosted SNL?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was probably one of my favorites because the guy
He's
doesn't.
a dope.
Yeah, but he has no personality, so for him to be doing those things was great.
No, it was uncomfortable.
Oh, really?
I was in my buddy's basement for that, and we all got together for the game, and that whole thing was, and we were all standing at the TV, like we knew it was going down. It felt bad. You just get that feeling, and then when they lose, I remember. I think I had the numbers in the squares. So I had a big square hit on it, and I looked, and I was like. I was looking around the room, and everybody just kind of like speechless. People just walked out. They left. And I'm just staring there looking like, hey, I won, $400. Not the gambling's good, but I didn't tell anybody. I was like, that game, that was tough. I'm upset. But I'll tell you, that made it a lot easier. Because
I'm upset. My car payment's taken care of next month.
That was tough. That was a tough one.
And I remember a couple years ago, which there's a local radio host, Jeremy White here in Buffalo, who often will just something will come up and he'll say, "Oh, can you believe they didn't run the ball? Can you believe with the Seattle Seahawks?" And like, I'll never understand that. But I remember, did Gronk catch the touchdown when the did he catch the winning touchdown or something? Yeah. I forget who it was. But I remember, anyways. No, okay. What happened was the interception. It was the interception. I think Gronk was involved in some fight at the end of the game or something like that. Or there was like a big rough. But anyways, Darius Butler, was that the guy's name who intercepted
intercepted it, yeah. Something Butler, yeah.
Yeah, he intercepts that ball. and we were over at a friend's house. They have like this big party every year. Like they cook all these chicken wings and everything. It's just insane. Like there's all these people. And typically, a lot of times, it's the guys are downstairs watching the game, and the wives are upstairs. They're watching the game, but they're also talking and whatever, you know. He intercepts that football. I stand right up. I say, bye, everybody. And I walked right up. I get my wife and say, we're leaving. And we just leave. And she said, okay, I got to go. Bye, guys. I was so upset that the Seahawks
I
passed
agree.
it.
Like, if the team that you've been trying to beat, like the team that you strive, like it must. Super Bowls are only fun if you can root for someone to beat another person. So if you can root for Seattle to beat New England, then it's a fun game to watch. And if Seattle can beat New England, then it's fun and it makes it all worth it. But the second, like I know what you're saying, the second your team that you want to lose doesn't lose, then you're like, now I have to hear every single fan or every single enemy or whatever brag, and I have to see this guy's face on TV. And I thought that game was lost. I saw that catch down on the right on the sideline, and we were standing right here, me and 10 friends, and we were literally like, you stand in front of the TV when you get nervous, and I'm like, this is so bad. This is the worst. I can't do this again. I can't not lose like this. And when he picked it off, like this room just went crazy. Like this house just shook. People like ran outside my back door screaming. Like it was like people were hugging. Actually, people were rolling on the ground here. It was crazy, and I was like, I didn't believe it. I thought there was a flag. I looked for a flag, and then I looked for excessive celebration. Then I looked for something to go wrong because I just didn't think it was going to happen. It was too unbelievable to see that he would win another Super Bowl because you get at some point your luck runs out, and it's like there's no way we're lucky enough to do this again and then have it stick. You know what I mean? Like there's no way. And then it stuck, and I was like, "Holy crap! Why didn't you run the ball? Like, what are you doing?"
I was so
Everybody
angry.
said the same thing.
So
Why
angry.
Would you not run it?
I was so angry though. Like I've never done that. Like where I just non cordial, is that a word? Like just like rudely just stood up and said bye. I was so because I hate your team so much.
Yeah.
I hate them so much, and for them to pull that off was just have it handed to them on a silver platter. Like
Seattle was handed that game. And they threw the ball. And I don't know, you probably saw the footage of like what happened building up to that play. Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you just like, I don't want to see this crap. But he I think Belichick saw the confusion. And so he didn't call the timeout because he saw them trying to figure out if they were going to bring he watches the other sideline and he saw them trying to make a decision whether or not they're going to bring out the field goal kicker. And then apparently they didn't. And then they brought him. Whatever the package was, he knew that he needed Butler, and they called for Butler at the last minute, and they call him in, and he comes running in, and I guess they saw that play in practice, and this is the story they tell. I don't know if it's true or not. But
I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah, the story was like we saw the two guys on the side, they were bunched or something, and they knew that he broke for. I mean, how do these guys know? Some of that's got to be just luck, and then you go back and say, yeah, we knew that was coming. Like, that's got to be luck. It can't be true that the guy, they noticed the last play of the game was something that they ran in practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember Butler saying that. Like, they practiced that the week leading up. I remember him saying that.
Yeah, and then he breaks for the ball and picks it off. Mm-hmm. You know, whatever. I don't believe any of that. I think it's all luck, but...
He's not... Is he with the team still anymore?
Oh, yeah. He's our number one cornerback.
All right, yeah.
And he tore it up that year. Excuse me. He tore it up in preseason, and I remember saying... This guy's pretty good, but then he disappeared, and I was like, "Where's that guy Butler from preseason? That guy was good. He was physical. I liked what he did, and he didn't play that much. And then all of a sudden, he kind of made a late surge in the season. Now he's like our number one guy, you know, with Revis. I don't know what happened to Revis Island, but I think he might be all done.
Oh my gosh, he's a wreck.
You guys torched him, right?
Yeah.
I didn't see any of the plays or anything, but I just heard that he's getting torched. He was on Twitter fighting with somebody. Mm-hmm. He was a mercenary. He was never.
No, he's a complete mercenary.
He never gave you the feeling that he was a patriot. You know what I mean? He was here, but he didn't really gel with anybody. Like you could just tell he was gone. And when he was gone, it was like, damn, why didn't you throw the book at him? Why didn't you throw all this money at him? But people don't realize like he probably didn't want to play here. He probably didn't like. There's nothing here for him. You know, he wants to be in New York. So. You know, let him go, whatever. Yeah. You can't just throw all this money at a guy who doesn't want to play for a team. You know, people don't understand that.
Mm-hmm. And he's not the guy he was either. Like, I mean, Marquise Goodwin is like
Super fast.
He's like the fastest or second fastest wide receiver in the NFL.
And you're gonna hear that Belichick saw this coming, and you're gonna hear all this crap about that. But that's not. Maybe they did. I don't know, but I don't think that the coach can see how he's gonna play 2 years later and see, or a year later or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's just I think he had like crazy contract demands and stuff too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you don't pay a guy that much if he's that old playing that position.
Mm-mm.
You don't do it.
Not when your team, the Patriots, not when it's built how it's built. You're not paying somebody to play corner.
No, not coming back.
But so, anyways, okay, so it's going to be tough, but I think the Bills are going to win by at least 30 tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes. with no Sammy Watkins.
Teaser for the video. That'll be
exactly.
The teaser.
Yeah,
watch this crazy guy from Buffalo predict a 30. Although if it comes in and you do, it'd be like, this guy, it's on video. This guy got it.
I remember in 2011, it was the night before the season opener when they played the Chiefs. Somebody said, "Hey, what do you think is going to happen?" I said, "I don't know. Bills are going to win like 42-7 or 42-6 or whatever," and it ended up being like 1 point off. So it was like either 41-7 or like it was. I was 1 point less for one team and 1 point more for the other team. I was like, "I've got a gift. And then the next week I tried it and got killed." But
that's amazing.
Yeah, I was pretty proud of it. I gotta find that tweet and retweet it or something like that.
See, yeah, you can retweet yourself now. It's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So, all right, so I wanted to, now that we've just talked football for 51 minutes and 10 seconds or whatever, I wanted to ask you like about with Vine and everything. So like you've got a pretty big following on Vine. Congratulations on
thank you.
being verified and everything. I remember that was a long running skit that you had in terms of like the lettuce on the iPad and everything. That was pretty fun.
Yeah,
but
that's right. That's an old. Yeah, that's a deep cut right there.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm showing. I'm legit. Like I've been following you. So.
Yeah.
But where did that ever come from? I actually, you were telling me what you do for a living before this, and it's not entertainment.
No, not at all. I didn't even go to school for any of this stuff. I was, I'm still a teacher. I teach middle school, and when Vine came out, it was connected to. It's still connected to Twitter, but I saw guys on Twitter. Twitter's always been my favorite social media app.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then when they had this short video format. I was like, people started posting Vines. Like some of the big Twitter people were posting these short videos. So I downloaded and looked at it, and I started playing around with like stop motion with like Legos and my cat and just stupid, silly skits. And then I started talking to people on there and like, favoriting a lot of their stuff. And I was getting a lot of feedback from other people and meeting a lot of people on there. It was just a real social app that I liked a lot. And, I made a few other videos that actually I liked making like stupid. One of my favorite older ones was like I cut myself shaving. I put a bunch of ketchup on my neck and I fell down, and like if you look at it now, it's one of the worst videos ever created. But I love that video so much, and I showed my wife and she thought it was the dumbest thing. And my friends were like, actually a couple of my friends were like, this is really funny, and then the other was like, I don't know about this. But so I went with that. I kept going with that and making like silly short videos, and then finally, one of the videos is like the Jay-Z accountant one just went viral.
Gosh. Hova, I can't keep up.
That went viral. Yep. That thing, I don't know if you noticed it, like I'm shaking the camera. I'm like holding, like I didn't think it would do anything. And so I shot it when I came home from work. And when you shoot a Vine, it's like important that you're not shaking, but I had really no idea. So I'm just shaking and I'm playing, and I had to like press the video. Like nowadays you can just pump music in. But I had to like press play on a computer and then shoot the video and then do the voice and everything. And then the thing, I don't know what happened. People shared it and it went viral and it went on Facebook. And then once it hits Facebook, it just kind of snowballs into viral. So, and then I started getting a lot of followers from that. And I got like 100,000 followers. And then that was a huge, actually, I got 1,000, and then it was like 10,000, and then I was like, wow, 10,000 followers of something is the greatest thing ever. And then it turned into 100,000. I was like, I wonder if I'll ever get verified, and then somebody's like, you need to get 100, you need to get 1 million followers to get verified. And I'm like, geez, that will never happen. And so, and then something else went viral. I think it was the milkshake video. And then a few other random things that went to Facebook and then Twitter. And then one day, probably a couple of years, I was at a football game. I was at a college football game, local college up the street, and Bat Dad, which I don't know if you follow
Yeah.
Bat
Oh yeah,
Dad, but
that did.
he texted me. He's like, yo, he's like, all the dads got verified. And I was like, what? And I looked, and like it was me and Bat Dad and Josh Darnett and AB, and I don't know, AB might have already been verified at that point, but they verified like 5 dads, and I was like, oh my god, and I was like going crazy. So that was a lot of fun. And so, I think they made a point to be like, all right, these dads have been on here trying hard to be funny forever, and they're like, well, we got to throw them a bone. You know what I mean? You just throw them a bone. So they verified us, and then I've been on the app doing just random promotions and meetups and meeting people from the app and doing all kinds of fun stuff with it. It's great. And a lot of people started off strong with it and they kind of gave up on it just because it became a younger app. A lot of kids were on it, but I made enough friends on there where I still talk to a lot of the same people on there.
Mhm.
So I don't really focus on like all the young kids, I still make content that my older friends will like, so I never really changed my content to adapt. I just kind of went with it.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
awesome.
I was lucky enough. I was lucky enough to get verified, so I was lucky enough to still have a following and still like I can send an email to somebody at Vine and be like, hey, I got something really funny here. Could you guys maybe share this or something or whatever? So I'm lucky enough there that they do that for me. And so, the app isn't what it was 4 years ago, but it's still fun to use. I still make content. It's less stress. It's less stress now for me, I guess.
Yeah, I remember when they started Revines.
Yeah.
That drove me nuts.
Oh, Revine thing
'Cause
scared
it
a lot
just
of people away.
took over. Yeah, it took over. Like so much of my feed was like I saw this one before. I saw this one before. I saw,
Yeah.
but there's still like, and I haven't done too many Vines in the past few years. But one thing I always enjoyed about what yours was that you involve your kids.
Yeah.
And that's like that's a really cool thing. So, and like I said, I stole some things from you in terms of like ideas.
Yeah.
So I would bring my kids into it, and like I could use these kids as props.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a lot of heat for that in the beginning. Like, you're using your kids for props and for fame and stuff like that. I'm like, come on. You think I'm pulling my kid out of like bed and being like, you got to make this Vine, or I'm not going to feed you tonight. The kids are with me doing it, and we're having fun. We're watching it and laughing. You know what I mean? It's so dumb. It's just kids that get mad that some old guy's on there, having success, and then they get jealous and say, "Oh, you're using your kids or whatever." My kids, we do we'll do an ad for something, and my kids will get the money for it. You know what I mean? What do they think? They think I'm like stealing money from the kids or something. It's crazy,
Yeah, it's like you said, it's not like you're making your kids do it. My kids, I think I did a Vine once with my kids. Can we do a Vine? Can we do a Vine? Like,
Yeah.
it was nonstop. And I should get back and doing that with them because that was a lot of fun to like, hang out and goof off a little bit. You know what I mean? It was a fun thing for families to do. But
I have 2 accounts. I have like the Bottle Rocket account, and then I have my own personal account. And I'll use my personal account to shoot, maybe at a Patriots game or something that I don't. That's a little bit like just for me, like just I want to get video of this parade, or I want to get video of this celebration, or I want to get video of something on TV. I use the Vine. It's easier than just shooting video on your phone and then like, what do you do with that video? You upload it to YouTube,
Yeah.
you put it on Facebook. I mean, you get the Vines I look back at my old Vines on my other account. I get some great stuff. My kids going to dances and stuff. Like there's some Vine is useful. I have a friend who, she's got 5 followers, but she vined her kid every week, like 52 weeks of her son after he's born. So now she's got 52 weeks of this kid every day, like once
that's
a week.
really cool. That's
just
really
once a
yeah.
week. But she's got vines of this one kid for 52 weeks, and it's pretty cool. I mean, if you look at my account and you go back you can actually reorder it, old vines to newest. My kids are like 3. You know what I mean? My youngest, who's over here bothering us earlier tonight, she's 3 years old. She can barely speak. So I have a record of all these kids like growing up, and it's pretty amazing if you think about it.
Absolutely, and I've always said, because if you remember when Instagram introduced video, like I think it was like in late 2013 or something.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, 15 seconds, it's too. I was like, 15 seconds is too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, really, like, when you think about it, like, when you watch a video or watch, how much do you actually remember? You know what I mean? So the key is with Vine is just get the point that, across that you want to remember, and, like, that's it. So, like, you have a Vine of, like you said, a parade or something, like, with your kids or something, like, that's all you really need,
Yeah.
especially in today's society, even, like,
Short second.
Yeah.
Short attention span.
Yeah, even, like, know thyself, right? So, like, that's all I really need is 6 seconds. All right, that was just made a funny fart noise or something. But
yeah, now Instagram's up to a minute, so you can do some short skits on there. But I mean, I barely do it. Once in a while, I'll do it, but
yeah, I think I would sometimes default over to, like, in 2013 is when I was doing a lot of that stuff. I would default over to Instagram sometimes just because I needed like 8 seconds. I couldn't like. Have you ever done that? Like, we've tried to do one, like, you've like, how fast do I need to speak, and how it's like, oh my gosh.
Absolutely, yeah, and you don't want to cut out the content of what you need to say, so you have to put it to a different medium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, like with Vine, I started meeting all these people, and I've met people like Sammy Morris and like the Property Brothers. I met them a few times, and guys that are creating content like I am, they want to meet up with me, and we want to cross promote or whatever. Mm-hmm. But we want to do the same, like we want to talk about the same stuff. So it brings kind of everybody together. So it's like, Sammy wants to make videos. He wants to make comedy. I want to make comedy. We want to make funny videos. We get the same similar style. He wants to stay clean. I want to stay clean. So that's how we all came together. And then I started meeting guys all around Massachusetts. The guy I'm going to the Patriots game tomorrow with, I met, he lives a half hour up the highway. I met him. We started making videos together. We met up with Sammy. Actually, he met Sammy first, and then he invited me because there's not many people in Massachusetts that make Vines. And then I met 2 other people from Massachusetts, go to Boston with them or whatever. And so it's a social media, what do you call it? Social app. It's cool, and it's not. Years ago, this was weird. You meet somebody from the internet. It's like you stay on your toes. You don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, absolutely. Now,
don't drink anything out of an open cup or anything. Nowadays, it's like, hey, you want to meet me at this place and make a video? Yeah, let's do it. It's not even a big deal.
Right.
It's worked out a lot.
I think it's because everybody's on the internet now, right? So, like,
yeah.
It's just like it's a ubiquitous way of communication. It's not like, well, there's only like a percentage of society that has it, and so
everybody's on it. Yep, you're right.
Some of my closest friends I have now I met through Twitter, over the past 5 years. So it's really amazing how life has changed. You know what I mean? Now my business, my job is based on something that came out of social media. So
social media, right?
So it's kind of just the world's different, but.
The world is different, and unfortunately, there's still people that think that the social media stuff is bad, or like you can't get on there. People are cheating on each other and stuff like that. And it's like you gotta accept that stuff. You gotta accept the social media as what it is, because it's really where our kids are going, and it's like you can use it for positive stuff. You can use it, I can use it in my classroom. You can use it for your company. Like you have to learn to use this stuff, because if you don't, you're gonna be left behind.
Yeah, absolutely. To that point, the irony is that, like, myself, who's like really into social media in terms of all the different, things that you can do with it and everything, I won't let my kids have like any kind of, Facebook or Twitter accounts. Like my daughter, like she's in 8th grade. All her friends have Instagram. She's probably the freak, that doesn't have it. And the irony is that her dad is, got like lots of followers and stuff like that. So, but like I tell her, like, sorry, like, I know too much about it right now. I'm not ready for you to engage there yet. I see all the other stuff that goes on with that stuff. So
well, I mean, look at me. Like my daughter has a Musical.ly, and I made her make it private. So she's, I said, you're gonna have a Musical.ly. It's gonna be private. She's asked for Instagram. Now she's in 4th grade. Instagram, her friend has an Instagram. I said, I don't care what your friend has. You can't get an Instagram. There's no reason for you to have it. She asked for Facebook. No way. I said, middle school, we'll think about it. We'll talk about it. They don't have a phone. So it's like, here I am. I've got accounts everywhere with followers, and here I am, like, trying to keep her out of that world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's a weird world, and I think it takes a little bit of you have to be mature enough to deal with a lot of the stuff that goes on, a lot of the hate and the comments and stuff. So I'll keep her from it as long as possible. And then when she gets on it, we'll talk about, how do you deal with hate and bullying, because that stuff goes on. And I tell my students, I'm like, you guys, I get bullied all the time. I get, what's this old fat guy, online? Why are you on Vine? You're old. You're not funny. You use your kids. Your kids are ugly. That stuff. It's like, how do I deal with it? I make fun of them. I share with these people, and I shouldn't, because I try to share as much positive stuff as I can, because I think that teaches people to be positive online. But at the same time, I also need to show people how dumb people look. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I try not to, like, I get stuff like that too, especially after a Bills loss. Like, people they just come out of the woodwork, and, like, as if I'm the one who's responsible for them losing. Or whatever. Yeah, it's like, but it's my fault, because, well, you're an idiot because you started a fan community or whatever, or you did whatever. Therefore, you're an idiot and you're a jerk. I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? So sometimes you learn not to take it personal, because, like, this person doesn't know me from Adam, and, like, they're just mad because their team lost or whatever. But,
no, there's an old meme out there that's like, this person is angry about something they saw on the internet, and then the person's just like, okay, whatever. I don't care. I don't know you. You don't know me. It doesn't matter. And that's what I try to teach my kids at school. And it doesn't matter. You just gotta just let it roll off, but kids, unfortunately, our kids are young enough where everything matters. So they have to kind of get through that.
So real quick question then, I guess. So you teach middle school, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
So do your kids that you teach, they're aware of your Vine account and everything?
They are, not as much as they used to be. But I had a rule. I lay the rules down the first day of school. We don't talk about anything social media until after school, like, because I put myself in the position of a parent. Like, I send my kids are second, fourth grade. Same with yours. You don't want your kids in a classroom where someone's being distracted by social media or talking about it or shooting stuff, God forbid.
Right.
So it's like, here's my deal. This is where I can be found, but we don't talk about this until the bell rings. And if you have a question about that stuff, you can talk to me after school. Because first of all, I can get fired. If I ever put anything out that's inappropriate, I could get fired. If I ever do anything that a parent could, get angry about, a parent could say, this guy fails my kid and he's making videos in the classroom, fired. All these things, like, I just keep it as a part-time gig after school, at home with my kids. That's it. But at the same time, I don't want to ignore it, because I say, if you're getting bullied online, especially Instagram, because all my kids are on Instagram. All my students are on Instagram. If you ever have an issue, let me know. That way we can deal with it. So I want to use it as a positive thing at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool. So my whole question for that was, what I was leading up to is my daughter. I think I mentioned this before we started recording. My daughter was completely starstruck. The fact that, like, you were inside my, my laptop monitor, and so, like, she's like, so she was, like, so excited and everything. So, I just was wondering, like, if they ever get that,
It's old news with my kids. Like, they're kind of, at the first time they see me in the hallway, they'll look, especially if they don't have me as a teacher, they'll kind of look at me and, like, point a little bit. And other than that, like, once they're in like, it's totally different if you're in the school, like, with me, because I'm not, I'm teacher mode. Like, I'm all business. But, like, a lot of the kids will like, their friends will notice and be like, that's the guy, I saw him on Facebook or whatever, So that's all I deal with. Nobody gets in my class and, like, stares at me and is, like, crazy about it. Like, nobody really cares that much. One girl asked me last week, like, do you have Vine? Someone told me you had Vine. I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I just downplay.
Never heard of it. So never heard of it.
No, I'm like, no, I'm like 40. I'm not gonna have a Vine. Like, you know what I mean? I downplay it, and they believe it until they go home. Like, I've sat in parent meetings where a parent comes in and I introduce myself and the parent says, oh, I know you. You're the guy from the internet. I've seen your videos. I'm like, and my boss is sitting across the table and he's like, and my boss knows and he's cool with it. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, we're going to talk about your kid today. We're not talking about my video. You know what I mean? Like, it's just funny.
That is funny. Even the parents, you have to steer in the right direction. That's
Yep.
So okay. So one question I want to ask you is, what's the the coolest thing that's come out of this whole like social media? I'll use the term stardom, but like the social media stardom for you. Like, what's the coolest experience or what?
Following. Yeah, the social media following.
Yeah.
I mean, we were doing a lot of like ads and stuff, and like a lot of video. I mean, those weren't cool, but it was a good supplemental income. Where so much that I could quit my part-time job, and I mean, we're still getting like a little bit of a supplemental income coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of advertisements, but once in a while we'll do something. But just traveling, like meeting people, like going to LA. I've been to LA like every past 3 years, just for like different conferences and different like get-togethers and meetups, and just meeting all these people that I met like online and just hanging out. It's just so many people that I've met, and I would never have gone to LA if it wasn't for, this app, and meeting all these people and just doing all these different things, going to like the Roosevelt hotel party, like pool party, like what the heck am I doing at a Roosevelt? You know what I mean? I look at myself like, what am I doing here? Like we're outside at a pool party, people are in the pool on floats drinking, champagne, and it's like I feel like I'm in a video on MTV. Like what am I doing here? There's a lot of weird stuff, like a lot of different, after hours parties where you're meeting. There's like famous people, Andy Milonakis, and like all these different people are there, and that's really like some of the stuff that.
And they know who you are too, right? They walk up to you.
Some of them do, yeah. Some of them do. They'll introduce like, this is the guy I did a video with or whatever, and you meet a lot of those people. But most of those guys, they're in their own world. LA's a weird place. Yeah. They're in their own world. But that's probably the coolest thing. And then obviously like getting like noticed like in random places, in my town, in Disney World, like random places like, hey, I love your videos. It's like, oh, cool, thanks. That's kind of cool, because other people are watching us, and they like our content, so that's fun.
And it's the kind of thing like the stuff you do doesn't really alienate anybody. Maybe the boogeyman, but that's it.
The boogeyman probably gets mad, but that's it. You're right. There's nothing. Nobody's gonna come after me and be like, I don't like your social experiments or whatever. I don't like your fake pranks and stuff.
Yeah, it's funny though. So yeah, it's a family friendly Vine account. So
yeah.
So am I okay? I don't know. I just thought of this too. I mentioned the boogeyman. For anyone who's not followed or not seen any of Bottle Rocket's videos, first of all, I've been mentioning them every couple of months on my Twitter feed. So shame on you if you haven't done it yet. But
I've got some of your Buffalo followers follow me too. It's
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah,
they should be.
Like they'll favorite my stuff, and it'll be like a Buffalo helmet, and I'll be like, all right, cool. Because I try to keep the New England push away. Like I try to keep politics and sports out of my feed because it scares people away. Nobody wants to read about that stuff unless they follow you for that reason. Mm-hmm. So people know I'm a Pats fan because I sneak it in once in a while, but for the most part, like I'll keep that stuff out. So I thank you for sharing that because I do pick up a lot of Buffalo followers, which is funny.
Well, good. You have a lot to offer. You should. But it's funny too. Like I followed you on Vine for a while, and I forget what it was. You it might have been one with Sammy Morris, or maybe it was something before that. Like you drank out of a cup and it had like a Dunkin' Donuts with a Patriots logo on it, and I was like, I put two and two together. I'm like,
yeah,
this guy's a Patriots fan. I stuck around, but like I was like,
yeah, I know. I know it's tough. I know. Well, because everything with Dunkin' Donuts is Patriots around here, so you can't really escape that.
It's funny, too. A couple years ago, I mentioned it earlier, how I got to do a shirt with Fred Smerlis, and he was in town here to promote it and everything. And he would not drink coffee from anywhere but Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, that's how I am.
It's
sad. It's scary. It's sad, and I mean, I'll do Starbucks if I have to, but it's always Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah. And the second when I travel, I've been traveling a lot because of Vine. I'll get off at Logan Airport and I'll go right to Dunkin'. There's a Dunkin's in the basement of Logan, and I'll hit that like immediately. It doesn't matter what time it is. Like it could be 10:30 at night. I'll be like, I gotta get a small coffee because I haven't had like Florida's got Dunkin's, but they're not the same.
Oh yeah,
it's like weird.
Yeah, I don't know if they have them out your way, Tim Hortons or not, but no. Tim Hortons coffee that's how it is here in Buffalo. It's well,
because you guys are basically Canada. You know what I mean? So Tim Hortons, and I've got my buddy Virtual Ham. I don't know if you follow him. He's on Vine and he's a Canadian, and it's all Tim Hortons, and he's a dad like me, like us, and he's funny. He's like, it's Tim Hortons, and that's how Canada is, I guess. I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
know.
there's a Tim Hortons on every corner in Canada, and right across the street is a beer store. I think that's how it works. Like it's like some kind of the beer store is what they call it. It was like the most generic name, the beer store. It's always
Of
right across from
course,
the Tim Hortons.
the
But
the beer store, eh?
yeah, yeah, beauty, eh? But
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny how people always associate Buffalo with Canada, and the fact that the Bills were playing games in Toronto didn't help. But I don't know why. How come Southern Ontario never gets flagged for? Like you guys are basically Western New York. They never get that. Like I don't understand. But
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
yeah, but yeah. So for us, it's Tim Hortons. That's the main thing. So like you said, we'll be back in town, and you'll want to hit Tim Hortons right away, get a double double. You know,
Of
but
course. I don't. What's a double double?
oh, 2 cream, 2 sugar.
Uh,
I think it's maybe only a Tim Hortons thing because I remember I was in Virginia once and I was at a Starbucks.
we say 2 and 2. We say 2 and 2.
2 and 2. Okay, yeah. I said a double double, and the lady looked like I had like something crawling out of my
Yeah,
ears or something. But I don't know.
that sounds Canadian.
And that would be more like a double. I can't think of it.
How far are you from Canada? How many minutes?
I can get to Canada probably in 20 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, because like we're right across the Niagara River. So
Yeah. I'm not gonna act like I know because I don't know how. I looked at the map once when I was gonna fly up there, and I was like, "Damn, these guys are close to Canada."
oh yeah,
So you basically, so when Trump gets elected, you guys can just go right over the Niagara River.
It's just a quick swim to
It's not bad.
you know.
Can you swim that or no?
No. Well, I
'Cause you
mean,
know what? He's gonna have guys grabbing like shooting the boats down or something, trying to be people trying to leave.
man, that is that's something else. Like
We're going politics on.
yeah, I
the
know
Del
exactly. It's funny.
podcast.
I am a completely non-politics account. Like you say you
Yeah.
don't do politics or sports. Like I try not to because like this year it's easy because to talk politics because they're both
Well, it's
terrible.
comedy. It's comedy.
It's
I
just
know. Well, that's why I'm in the middle here. I'm moderate, so I make fun of both. I make fun of
Mhm.
everything. Basically, I make fun of that, and that's what somebody said. Like, I like you because you make fun of just everything. You don't like hold back. Well, not that I don't hold back. It's just like I wasn't a huge Obama fan, but still I'm gonna make fun of every like I'll make fun of Bush and Obama at the same time. You know, I just make sure everybody gets made fun of.
yeah,
Maybe that's nice. Maybe I'm just a nice guy. I just want to make sure he gets made fun of.
that's
So
fair.
yeah,
Equal opportunity.
this election is amazing. It's gonna be crazy.
I joke because it's like I'm excited. I've never been part of a civil war before. I've never got to see one. I've never seen one firsthand. I've never been able to experience it. So this is going to be a fun. We got a couple months
Purge, man.
left. We got about a month and about a month and a
Well,
week. So
You've been getting ready for the purge, so you should be all set.
yeah, right, absolutely. So it's too bad. Well, maybe the Bills will win the Super Bowl this year, and then I could just get both. I could
So
warm
Trump
up for it.
Trump wins this thing in November. Bills win the Super Bowl. I'm freaking out of here. I'll tell you that right now. I'm gone. I'll go. I don't know where I'll go. Mexico or something.
But you better get there before the walls put up because
Nah, he'll let me over.
yeah,
I'm verified.
verified. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're verified on Twitter, so that's congrats to you. That's good. That's being verified on Twitter is the game, is the changing of everything. It's a game changer because you get the there's a feed on the right hand side with the verified tag,
Mm-hmm.
so you get to see all those like I don't want to be uppity, but you get to see like the other verified accounts that tweet you,
Mm-hmm.
and I think other verified accounts see that you tweet them a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like you said, famous people have to pay attention to us now.
yeah, even though everybody seems like they're verified, you know what I mean? Like I'll look at it and say, "Oh, sweet, I got somebody who's in the movie." No, they are a startup company. You know what I mean? Like somebody from like an app that it's literally an app of something that I've never heard of, and it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Yeah, I remember when I got verified, like back in July. My phone, it's funny. Like my phone, like light up. Obviously, if you get an alert or something. So, but it didn't buzz or anything. But for some reason, my phone lighting up woke me up at like 2 a.m. It says, "Congratulations, you've been verified." And like this is gonna sound so like pretentious. I sat there and I just like
Yeah,
I
did you
stared at my
refresh
phone.
it?
Oh my gosh!
Did
I
you
kept thinking like,
refresh it? Yeah.
oh yeah, I was
I
like,
kept refreshing mine to make sure it wasn't a glitch.
right, yeah, and I was like, I was convinced it was gonna like they're gonna figure out like they did something wrong and then it was gonna go
Yeah.
away or something like that. But I
Huh.
stared at my phone for like 45 minutes, just like laying there in bed going, I can't believe that. Like, is that right? Is that like so?
It's a big deal. The Twitter thing's a big deal because the Twitter is where really where the verification started, where people would that check mark meant you were somebody, and whenever Twitter started, that was the beginning of anything that was. I mean, everything else just Facebook stole it from Twitter. Vine took it from Twitter. Everybody, and Instagram probably did too. But it's hard. I think it's really hard to get verified on Instagram. But Twitter was the first one that did it. And then like when you get Twitter verified, that's basically the pinnacle of your life. So that's it. We peaked.
And we can die now. So that,
that's it.
You can just put a blue check mark on the coffee.
I don't even care. Yeah. Yeah. So
but
I wasn't verified on Twitter right after. I was verified on Vine for a couple years before I was verified on Twitter. So I was like,
yeah, I was going to ask you that because when I got verified on Twitter, I think it carried right back into Vine.
Yeah.
So I didn't know because I think Twitter owns both of those. So I didn't know.
Yeah, they do now. Yeah, they do now.
So I don't know if it's ubiquitous. Because I was going to ask you about that. Like if when you got verified on Vine, if it just like traveled over to.
No, I don't know. I don't know what happened. It just didn't happen. And I checked into it, and they're like, "Well, you're not a big enough account. I don't think you're going to get verified." And that was the email I got or something. It's like, okay, whatever. And then they started pumping out a bunch of them to people, and then all of a sudden I had it. So I was like, "Oh, sweet."
Yeah. So maybe it is something where now it's just like 1 for 1. If you're on one, you're on the other, or something like that.
Yeah. Who knows? Kids, this is the. I want all the kids to listen out there. Start a Vine account, have a couple things go viral, and then you get verified on Vine, and you'll get verified on Twitter 3 years later. So anything is possible, like Kevin Garnett said. So guys, make sure you're paying attention.
That's funny you say that with Kevin Garnett because I reference that probably like once a week, like just like Kevin Garnett said, and then I never finish it. Like nobody I think understands it. But,
yeah, nobody understands.
But
all right, man. Well, you know what? I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna cut you off.
You know what? I was just about to cut you off. So
I got you first. I broke up with you first.
But this was great.
I do want to thank you though. This is fun, and if we want to do this again, we definitely will do it again before the home game in Buffalo.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I would enjoy it. That was good stuff, and I really appreciate you taking the time. And like I said, I earned some really cool dad points today. With
whatever I can do.
Yeah, so it's good stuff. But
you deserve it. You're a good dad. You deserve a little bit of points.
Well, thank you. You're a pretty decent dad yourself, as long as all those vines aren't lies and everything. So
yeah, no kidding.
Selling out your kids for money and all that, like you said.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
But all right, well, enjoy the game tomorrow. Don't enjoy it too much. Don't be afraid to throw, a WR away if you have any say in that down there at the stadium. But
yeah, man. You never know what's going to happen. You guys, I'm sure, will bring your A game. I'm sure Rex is going to be, probably talking a little bit of crap before the game, probably after the game as well. So I do think you're going to take the L. I don't think it's going to be. No, you know what? It might be close. It might be a close game. It is going to rain.
Is it going to rain?
So it's going to rain a little bit. So
that's going to hurt the passing game a little bit, you would think. I always think it is, but then it never really does. But I always feel like it.
Well, Brady can throw in snow, so it doesn't really matter. He can throw in like fiery inferno. It doesn't matter. But yeah, Garoppolo, I don't know how he's going to react, but we'll see. Like I said, I got to see a bigger sample size before I jump on board. Before I buy the jersey from Walmart, I got to know if this guy. I got to know if this guy can play.
It's only $15. Just take the leap, man. Right?
Yeah, this is like $19.99.
Yeah, see, that's good quality craftsmanship. But all right, dude. Well, thanks again for taking the time tonight, killing an hour and a half of your life with me. I appreciate it.
No, man, that's cool. It's good. I love it. I want to get into the podcasting game, and when I do get into it, you're going to be my first guest.
I would be honored. That'd be great.
Cool.
All right, cool. Well, take care, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Bye.
All right.